VR, or known as virtual reality, a great way to escape and a great gaming addition. Now, I love VR since the Palmer Luckey DK1 days. Yes, not the Virtual Boy days, sorry Nintendo, but Palmer Luckey's invention with the Oculus Developer Kit 1 and then eventually the Developer Kit 2, which was a significant improvement but still had a lot of people nauseated. In March 2014, Facebook came along and bought Oculus. Okay, alright, well, they made some innovations on it, starting off with the consumer version 1, which probably my favorite looking headset. Very sleek, very nice, and, well, you know, going into this Best Buy, little demonstrations, those were fun. So, some competitors came along, like HTC and Valve's Vive headset. And while the Vive headset was very favored over the Oculus Rift CV1 because the Vive started off with motion controllers, which made a lot of people happy. They didn't want to use an Xbox controller that was being used with the Rift CV1. And of course, they came with some motion controllers later, but this isn't about a history lesson of VR. This is just trying to demonstrate how much I love VR. So this video is not to insult VR, but to get at some points about this Facebook's tactics they're doing nowadays. And well, what the hell are they doing nowadays? They're making a lot of people angry. So when they released their first prototype of VR, when I think the innovations really sparked was this project titled the Santa Cruz Project, which was the Quest 1. And we're going to call it the Oculus Quest 1 because it is the Oculus Quest 1. So the Oculus Quest 1 was very favored, loved, and because of the innovation of how you can do this wireless VR, the problem was it was not liked for the heaviness, not a lot of great comfort there. So, Joe, at the time of this video, we are at the Meta Quest 3, and while there is a big problem between the Oculus Quest 1 all the way up to the Meta Quest 3, and I want to address those problems right here, right now, starting off with November 2021, a very scary downfall. Of Oculus and Facebook, because, well, the name Oculus was wiped. Uh-oh. Now it's just called Meta? What? Like, come on. Palmer Luckey's name for the Oculus was designed to be that, and when you called it a Meta Quest, that, without trying to nitpick on the name too much, I'd like to basically just leave it up to the viewer. What do you think's better? Calling it a Meta Quest or the Oculus Quest or the Oculus Rift? I just think a lot of people have agreed with me that the Oculus was a much more suited name. Yeah, I know they didn't just change the name to remove Palmer Luckey from it or whatever, but they did change the name for a reason, and well, I want to talk about that reason on my next point, and I don't quite like the reason, and I think the reason's a little forced, but alright, let's talk about that. A big problem that I'm noticing as well, they're pushing this Meta Horizon world as a main sell point. What? Come on, what? So, has Zuck ever thought to himself, hey Zuck, you know this VR chat game? That's not, you want Meta Horizon worlds, trust me, I went on a Meta Horizon worlds a few times, sure, made a friend or two, but it's pretty flat. The game is pretty flat. It's just a knockoff VR, chat world, maybe with a few Oculus perks and stuff, but besides that, it's not good. It's not something that makes me want to buy the VR headset. So why are they branding Meta so heavily? What is this Horizon world so popular of? It's getting really bad right now, but I'll get into that in a little bit. I want to go on and play some VR games, not this Horizon worlds. So I do know Zuck has gone pretty crazy with the whole Meta thing. You got the Meta Quest, you got the Meta AI, you got the Meta sex bots, you got a lot of different Meta things here that well, if I could put it in simple terms, Meta isn't quite just, VR or AI. Meta has become the monopoly man. Meta owns it all. Meta owns the Facebook. Meta owns the Instagram. Meta owns the Quest. Meta owns the AI. Zuck is Meta, that's what it is. Meta has become the brand over everything. It's something more bigger than you can just put into one little app. It is all Meta, and I don't know the global scheme of Meta. It might end the world one day, but hey, we might day the Meta way. Anyways, back on the topic of the video, the VR side of it. So the Quest 3 headset, well, that is very much not the problem. That is a banger for the buck kind of headset. But as a lot of people may or may not know, you're only paying half through money. The other half through data. Yeah, you sign your Facebook account up, everything. Zuck has full access to all your nudes now. Maybe you want to get a little freaky with some VR porn. Oh, would you believe it? Zuck would like to join you on that. What a nice guy he is. By the end of it, Zuck will have a whole nother meaning. Little monkey business, Zuck is gonna be there. He'll support you all the way through. He won't even make a sound. You won't even notice him. He's just that good. But he'll be there, okay? He'll be there to the very end with that Zuck stare. That blank emotional Zuck stare. And when you get done with your monkey business, you better... After we got the whole data thing out of the way, I'd like to talk about the content for VR. It is very limited. A lot of VR enthusiasts talk about the content lack almost killing VR because, well, sure, you have some fantastic games on the Steam store like Half-Life Alyx, Boneworks, you've got a few other fantastic titles out there. The problem that it is right now is VR is in a weird place. Let me explain. Game developers, big companies like EA and the Devil, no, but EA and Activision and, you know, these big game companies, alright? But see, they want to develop these games for the majority of the buyers, and the majority is going to be on PC or console. And the reasons is because VR is great for a gaming edition, but gets a lot of people motion sick still, and it's a little uncomfortable to wear for long periods of time, and that kind of cuts out VR for a lot of people. So you have a lot of passionate game developers still in these gaming companies, but it's not up to them what they get to make officially. It's up to the big dog in charge, and the big dog only has one motto: capitalism, which has sparked a lot of rage in gamers for multiple reasons. I'm not going to talk about any of those. This is just a VR video. They're not going to make VR games. They probably won't even make a VR edition, like a VR support to the base game or anything. They're not going to do that. They don't care. So sadly, a lot of these VR games, these titles that are coming out, are from small game developers because, well, the big ones, they don't care. And so these ones are passionate to make VR titles, and sometimes it is from Facebook just trying to keep the Quest store alive, but other times you get these rare gems like Gorn, or, and I'd say Phasmophobia, but I'm half and half on Phasmophobia. It's fun for a little bit, but I don't know. But yeah, you know, a lot of people say they like Phasmophobia, so jack it to whack it, my friend. It's up to you and what you see there. So, back in the day when you got your Quest, the app that you had for it was just called Oculus, and it was a perfect name. There was nothing wrong with it. It was the way it was meant to be. Then Zuckerberg had this actually terrible idea to create the metaverse and basically slap the name Meta on everything. So, yeah, you got the Meta app now, which is just a fucking stupid name compared to Oculus. It has no value to the Oculus. But now things just couldn't get any worse. Now you're just gonna download the Meta Horizons app. Okay, so an app logo and name's one thing. Sure, that sucks, but how much is that going to affect the way you use your Quest VR headset? And well, the app name is not going to affect it. The user interface for that app is. This whole user interface change just surrounds Meta Horizon Worlds. So the app is now Meta Horizon, and the whole user interface is just Meta Horizon Worlds. So when I'm trying to find a game, I'm struggling because I'm just being bombarded by Meta Horizon Worlds. Just worlds of Meta Horizon. What? Oh, I guess there's a hot ones there. But my point is when this update first occurred, I couldn't even really get to the games I was trying to browse. I was just seeing if there's any VR games I might have been interested in, and I felt like a grandpa trying to learn technology. I don't know. It's not that fluent when I'm being bombarded by Meta Horizon World shit. Why? Why? I'm sure that pretty much wraps it all up. There's really not much more to talk about. The new user interface is very aggressive with Meta Horizon World crap. The games for VR, they are lackluster because big companies don't see the point of making VR games when the audience just isn't there. And as most people know, your data has been zucked over pretty fast due to the Zuckerberg's method of data collecting. And yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. VR is at a weird point. Do I think it's dead? No, I don't think it's dead. I want the Valve deck card to come out right now, okay? That's for another time, though. If I make a video on that, probably won't. But the VR scenario is just weird right now. We're in a uncertain time, but come on, let's progress. Let's keep this continuation, hopefully see some better VR technology improvements, such as field of view improvements, among screen door effect improvements. So since I started playing VR, the screen door effect has been vastly improved, but at the same time, if you don't have a Pimax beast of a headset, then you're stuck with 110, 115 field of view, and I believe the Pimax is at a 200 field of view for one of their more heavy spec headsets, and with a heavy spec comes a heavy price. Though I want to see some actual great improvements for VR like that in the future. Will we get that anytime soon? I don't know, but any bit of it helps. I don't know what they could do to the headset to make anybody less motion sick, but I do know game developers have innovated this idea of the bat lens. So the bat lens is basically this black border around the FOV of the headset, and typically it is optional. I've played 1 or 2 games where this black border was constantly there every time you moved or jumped or had any motion, which was pretty annoying. I had to refund the game. But for people with motion sickness, this black border can be a lifesaver when it comes to playing VR. And on the other hand, game developers, you need to have an option to turn it on or off. You just need to. And I want to end the video off by saying haptic feedback technology needs to be on more of a consumer-based market. I really want to try out those haptic suits or haptic gloves, but I can't do that if I'm just a consumer, really. I don't have the budget, and I've looked into it. Sometimes you need a business. It's not quite out for public, and I'm hoping to see that be more of a case in the future, because, well, this haptic technology stuff, I really want to give it a try. It looks pretty cool. I can get my sensories into VR. Okay. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it, folks. Thanks for watching. Tell me what you think. If there's anything you'd like to see in VR, please put it down in the comment section below. Alright, bye-bye.